Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Looking at that photo there, to me, yeah, it's still a thing of beauty to see like a college football game there with the snow coming down, and it just feels kind of like comfortable, kind of like home, kind of like growing up as a kid and everything. So, being somebody from the Northeast, originally from Connecticut, I always loved the summer, but then when the fall came and, all those traditions and stuff would always make you kind of feel warm and fuzzy inside. Well, try to stay warm and fuzzy because it's getting pretty damn cold quick. And as this is saying, this is out of AccuWeather. Persistent cold weather for October may be accompanied by storms and snow in the northeastern U.S. So hold on to your hats. There's definitely some really interesting patterns developing weather-wise, and as we've just have been talking about, all the old traditional patterns, we could kind of discard them because we're going into a new time period. So, this is just for you guys up in the Northeast right now. Not as cool on Monday, and then we see a chilly outbreak coming in Tuesday night through Wednesday. And then there's a flood threat that develops, and we're going to talk about that as well down through the south. And then look at how much of a dip that is on the jet stream too. It does do that, but it's just interesting. And then this counter stream up here coming in from the Arctic. And, one of the things that we've talked about in the past is that the flow of basically all the nice warm tropical water that goes up the Gulf Stream, at some points in time it shuts off, and when it does, it is that scenario, not as severe as the movie, but like the movie The Day After Tomorrow, in the sense that the Northeast and Europe get really cold when it happens, and it's been decreasing. We know that for a fact, that flow is decreasing, and basically that happens as more fresh water mixes in up in the Arctic Circle. There's something, there's a process there where the gyre up there reverses the flow, dumps the water in, and then you get a very, very deep freeze. Not saying that we're there yet, but the potential is there. So, October snow, it was always kind of a rarity, and as a kid, always looked forward if it ever did happen. It was exciting and cool, and yay, I don't want to go to school or anything like that, of course. Typical kids things. Special weather statement issued as the winds pound New York City. Sunday might be a day for staying indoors as we see the foliage changing there. The leaves are just starting to change down here too in the southern Appalachians. And so strong gusty winds with pretty cool weather. It's going to make it kind of brisk. And boy, was it brisk. It's brisk here this morning, and these are some of the local temps. As you can see, all the way down into Georgia here, you're looking in the 30s, and into South Carolina, Clemson, Andrews, Franklin, on through. There's definitely freeze warnings in effect for this whole area out into Tennessee as well. And it really was wild last night with the winds. The winds came up, and it sounded like we were in a hurricane, and it's of course, it's new for me as far as being in the mountains. I never lived in the mountains before, and the mountains basically trap air and bring it through different patterns and currents. So, it seemed incredibly strong last night, the wind, where it's really been just so tranquil the whole time that we've been here. Flooding rain returning to Texas this week, and there is the potential for some bigger issues coming and developing as we're going to look. And so, Texas, it has been just so flooded, and we have a lot of potential for some more strong, heavy rain coming in, and in part from what's developing out there. So we have Hurricane Willa has formed in eastern Pacific Ocean, and it's going to bring tropical rain. And Vicente also, both of them look like they're going to go into Mexico. Willa stronger, and actually Willa is going to actually pull in Vicente into her, according to what the models are showing right now. And those are going to first bring problems along the Pacific coast of Mexico. And then, there is potential for some storm surge. And then Willa is going to actually go up to major hurricane status very quickly, up to 3, and then turn and make a landfall at probably a 2. And, watch this path closely, because right here she's just going to impact southern Texas and coastal Texas and then make her way across, the Gulf. There is a potential to drift a little bit farther north again. And Texas is so waterlogged right now that they don't really need this. So it's a dual threat going on here, as we see. And we've seen a lot of wild things happen. And here now you see Willa and Vicente coming in and basically being pulled in together. And Vicente won't be that strong, but Willa will be pretty damn strong. And so there is potential to bring a lot of rain back into Texas and into the Gulf as well. And keep your eyes open, because things could change. And this is Tropical Tidbits, and I'll have the link for you guys there so you can look at it again. Willa and Vicente. And it's been a busy season after all, hasn't it? So we have a 19th century shipwreck unearthed by Hurricane Michael. And state officials say resources are being used for more urgent hurricane recovery efforts. There are no plans for archaeologists to visit the state as you look at the utter destruction, as the relief workers are still sifting through things. Incredible. So this, and Hurricane Michael, he unearthed some shipwrecks that go back to 1899. Pretty wild stuff. And again, I have friends in the area, and they're reporting the damage as very, very severe. And there were some reports from some YouTube channels, just kind of saying that it cut such a narrow band of damage. It's just such a precise narrow band that they didn't think that it really was much of a hurricane. It was just more of a weather bomb or something else. But what I'm getting from people that are down there is that it looks like massive hurricane damage, and the damage extends in for a long area. So not really anything that would make you think that it wasn't like a hurricane. So they're just saying that the damage is severe, and the damage is obvious all the way into Georgia. And this is a statement, it says a lot. I don't feel real. Mental stress mounting after Michael. And that's something we don't necessarily think about if we're not in there. But, this really, impacts people on a deep level mentally as well, and emotionally. And so Amy Cross has a hard time explaining the stress of living in a city that was splintered by Hurricane Michael. She's fearful after hearing gunshots at night. And she's confused because she no longer recognizes the place where she spent her entire 45 years. I just know I don't feel real, and home doesn't feel like home at all, she said. Healthcare workers say they're seeing signs of mental problems in residents more than a week after Michael, and the issues could continue as short-term disaster turns into a long-term recovery that will take years. Tony Averbook, who leads a disaster medical assistance team, is seeing 80 to 100 patients daily in tents set up in a parking lot off the badly damaged Bay Medical Sacred Heart Hospital, and said some people are showing signs of fraying. Excuse me as I take some more coffee. It's not hard to imagine Getting to the treatment site involves navigating streets with roadblocks, fallen utility lines, and the hospital building itself was ripped open by Michael's powerful winds. And then just knowing that, as you look around the wreckage, people's lives were taken there and also just destroyed. And so it's literally like walking through a war zone, and we know the effect that has on people. Creates tremendous stress. And I think that statement, that I don't feel real statement, is a big one. Excuse me there, losing my voice. It's a real big one because I've heard that from many, many people all over, all over these different areas that are getting hammered by all these earth changes, and just how surreal things feel. It feels like reality itself is changing on a very, very deep level. And it is. It truly is. And I'm going to touch on that in some other videos coming up. So over here we have a cutoff low that will bring thunderstorms, torrential rainfall to central Mediterranean over the next 2 days. And it could be intense, a lot of rain coming through Italy especially, and other parts of the central Mediterranean. Will watch for deadly flooding in those areas as well. There was a large tornado that hit in Cyprus, and this actually happened today. Now we're also tonight, if you guys are going to be able to have clear skies, put your eyes to the skies and check out for debris from Halley's Comet, because we are going to have meteorite showers tonight, and they should peak tonight and into Monday morning, and hopefully you'll have some beautiful views. And we'll probably have a little bit better view after all that wind last night whipping some of the leaves off the trees, because we're completely surrounded over here with trees. But it's the leaves are changing, and after that wind last night there's less leaves up there for sure, so maybe we could see some. And this is a little chart to give you visibility, and basically along the East Coast, good, going up through the Midwest, and then fair and poor for some spots in Canada and Mexico. But hopefully you guys will be able to spot some. Always interesting. I always love stargazing. And Antarctica is postponing summer as winter refuses to let go. And this is basically New Zealand's only Antarctic research station, and it's going to be home to 40 Antarctica New Zealand staff over the austral summer. And somehow I have no visions of Antarctica having a summer, quote unquote, in the first place. Now, something you might not be aware of, but victims of severe storms in Wisconsin may qualify for tax relief from the IRS. And I would encourage everybody else to look into this too in your states. And, because that might be something that you don't think about. And it could be a real possibility. And of course, we've had disasters all across not only the United States, but the globe. So, think about it. If you're in the U.S., check into it. Maybe you'll actually be able to get some tax relief. And wouldn't that be a blessing? It sure would. Well, my friends, may you always be blessed with abundance, peace, health, love, and all good things. As always, please thumbs up to support the channel, share with as many as possible, and join our family by hitting subscribe and clicking the bell so you get all the notifications. My friends, stay safe, stay warm out there. God bless, and namaste.